am fond of video games since I was a little kid. Different games at that time, like Beyond Good and Evil and Prince of Persia.
Have you faced any challenges in the industry, being from say, a diverse or marginalized group?
Yes, every day. I think it's about the main question is about the different point of view that you can see in a video games industry.
Hi everyone, this is Sarthak aka Newton, and you're watching Spawn Point. And today I'm joined by
Mickaël, how are you?
Hello, very good, and you?
I'm great. I'm great. All right, how's the weather over there for you? I see you are wearing a jacket. I had to turn on the AC because the lights get too hot, and it's so hot outside right now for me. All right. So, can you tell me a bit about yourself and how did you get into the gaming industry?
Yes, so I am I'm working at Ubisoft right now, but I'm also president of an association, video game association named Loisirs Numériques. In English, we could say digital leisure. And I am fond of video games since I was a little kid. So I just wanted to work in the industry. I did not know at that time in which sense, in which sector. I draw at that time a lot. Maybe I didn't know if I just wanted to be there and participate, to be involved in video game creation or doing something else. But anyway, I just did my studies in digital sector, working on with people who just want to give classes for people who have studies for creating companies, do accountancy, do commercial studies, and so on. And I knew that aiming video game industry will be good through this kind of studies. So a part of my studies, I worked in video game stores, little stores when you can buy video games. Like in France, we have Micromania is GameStop internationally.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked a lot in those kind of companies. And after my studies, during my studies, at the end of my studies, I had to do trainings in companies, and I just did my last training in Ubisoft in 2003. So it was a good experience, a very, very good experience. It was like something I just wanted to have it for, for the all day long. I wanted to work all day long in this company, but it was difficult at the first time to just be there and find the good job appropriate for me. So after my training, I did a lot
What did
of
you train in?
jobs.
What did you train in what did you train in at Ubisoft back in the days? What was your first training?
It was in the trade marketing department. Mm-hmm. It was really interesting because I worked on different games at that time, like Beyond Good and Evil and Prince of Persia. Mm-hmm. It was really interesting, and it was a good opportunity to build my first network in the video games industry.
Those games came out when I was born. So it's like your experience is more than I've lived on Earth. So you told me you've worked in the gaming at GameStop and other game services. What was your favorite game growing up?
I'm fond of Street Fighter series. Street Fighter is like when you have this kind of fighting games, was very interesting for me because you have this roster of characters, this really diversified. You have different styles, different competencies in the games. So it was a fighting game basically, but it was very interesting to see how the different, Street Fighter. The subtitle, the main line is the World Warrior, and you see different type of warriors with their own countries, with their own specificities. So it was really interesting to try those different characters. So I think, it was interesting to try out those different characters. I have my preferred one, which is Blanca, the Brazilian character. Is a big monster, a big monster. You can compare it to Hulk.
I'll put it right on the screen here.
Oh, okay, perfect. And it's my first preferred game, and it's still my preferred one.
It's still your favorite game. So, what was your first console?
Yeah. Sorry?
What was your first console? Did you have the PlayStation 1 or 2? Or were you a Nintendo boy?
I began with the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, and the Sega console named Master System. I don't know I think the international name is a bit different, but you can and afterwards the console that followed this one was the Genesis. And Street Fighter was on those devices. It was a lower version compared to the arcade version of the game, because at that time we had arcade rooms, where you had a lot of machines, video game machines, and you just put tokens in them to try out those different games. But it was a good version for me as I was a kid, and it was the preferred way to play video games.
All right. So this is a question that really bugs me. Why do you think diversity is really important in a video game company? Because a video game company is basically a business, and a business is concerned by selling video games. As a consumer, I can really appreciate that the game was made by a diverse group of people, that I can relate with those people being non-white. But at the end of the day, all I care about is having a good game in my hand. So can you tell me, why do you think that diversity is necessary in the gaming industry?
Yeah. I think it's really deeply important. Video games is a global entertainment. And we just have to reflect all type of people, all type of mindset, all type of thoughts in the video games. You said that it is important to have at the end the better video game possible in terms of maybe gameplay experience, but it relies not only on diversity, but it's a great asset to grab all the different people, their proper way to play video games, to enjoy video games, as they had people had their own create their own logic, their own thoughts, and it had the video games has to reflect that. And I think the variety of video games, the variety of stories, the variety of systems in the games. If you have those kind of open worlds with different systems and cultures and way to interact with people, if it's diversified, if it's you include all type of people, all type of stories, it could be deep and interesting for everyone. And I have at heart to talk to any people who can just see the game and see that he or she could play it, because it talks a lot about the game talks about different stories, your own stories, but also the other stories for in every country, every type of people.
That's really true. If an open world game had just one culture and one sort of people, it would get really boring really fast. And as you said,
Yeah, and
when
it's important.
uh,
Sorry.
hmm, no, go on, please.
Yeah, I think it's about the main question is about the different point of view that you can see in a video games industry, about the good people and the bad people. If you have this idea of good or bad, but you can see the different point about if you're a kid or if you have grandparents and so on. But it's important to have different way to do missions. And if you have like the same team in the same country with the only the point of view of this country, it could be, I think, biased. Um, so it's important to have, yes, this multicultural aspect in video games and do some studies and researches to reflect that in the games.
So Ubisoft has offices all over the world. I've seen they have offices in US, Canada, dotted across Europe, in UAE, and even in the East. So how does all that amalgamation help making the games that Ubisoft makes? How does all the different points of view of culture help?
Um, I think it's I could give you two logics in that. Ubisoft is a French company at the beginning, but once you just wanted to go in a new country, you have different companies that are already there, and discussing with them is a first way to see how it is possible to come in. But also, yeah, Ubisoft has a great power in the video games industry. Is among the first companies, so you can the company could buy certain companies to enter the country. I think it's a first step. And afterwards, those different companies have different specificities, different expertise, and they can, if you take, for example, Reflections in UK, Reflections was the company who did a Driver game, Driver about a mix of gangster games and driving games. So the expertise are driving simulator, basically. So if you want to do a game like Watch Dogs is a mix of different type of games. So you just want the expertise of the driving games, open world games from other subsidiaries and so on. So the different expertise fulfill the strength of the game we want to do at the end. So that's why Ubisoft, that's the way that Ubisoft acts to discuss with different companies, see what could be their expertise and how this expertise could help the games to get better.
All right. So you've been working in the gaming industry for a very, very long time, pretty much as long as I was born on this earth. Have you faced any challenges in the industry, being from say, a diverse or marginalized group?
Yes, every day, basically, because I think it's a perpetual question. Do things in video games industry. I am someone from the West Indies. I am in France. In France, you have. I am in Paris, in the suburb of Paris, but in a different in a popular city where everyone could discuss and meet each other and don't judge people of color and so on. But once you come in you enter in the video games industry, you don't have this variety of people. It's not. You could have it at the lower level once you have different types of jobs that where you don't decide about the future or the direction of the games, right? But once you reach the top level of different companies, it's difficult to see people of color. So if I take my situation, I am 40 years old. I am since a long time in the video games industry, and it's difficult to prove that I am someone that could help video games industry to evolve in a good way. It's not the case of all type of companies, but if you are in a great company with a lot of business matters to consider, it's difficult to just say, hey, I'm there since a long time in the industry, almost 20 years right now, and I can help you to decide, help you to convince people that video games with various backgrounds, various cultures could be a good business. And yeah, I think it's a perpetual struggle to say, hey, I'm there, and please consider my point of view. It's not only my case. I think if you are someone from LGBTQ plus clan, if I could say, people who are gay or some other creeds, other cultures, it's difficult to say, hey, I'm a gay man or gay woman. Please, in the games where you have relationship with other characters, it's important to choose whatever type of characters and so on. It's difficult to prove that when you create a character in a game, don't specify male or female, or authorize that male could have long hairs and female to have like a mustache or so on. You can do everything in video games. But so if you are open-minded, it could be a good point for video games industry. And I think it was difficult for me to prove that to people, to have those, you have always to justify through studies and so on. And I think experience, it's a good way to do that.
So you've been in the industry for, as you said, 20 years. How diverse was the industry back then, and how diverse is it now? And has it improved and improving over the years?
Yeah, I think back in the days, there was a lot of type of games, a lot of variety in games, but without considering those multiple voices that could be heard in video games industry. So if you had a black black guy in a video games, this character could be created with a lot of mistakes, like stereotypes in video games. Right now, we are more conscious about what we can do well and what we could do wrong. So we consider associations. We consider the different backlash. We have the social network. So it's important to consider that. And I think video game companies right now are more conscious about that, about the backlash that they could encounter through the social network. So I think it's diversified as the previous years, but right now we are more conscious about what we can do right or wrong.
Okay, so building up upon this answer that you said, in Hollywood, when I see representation, the question of representation or diversity, what they do is take what's originally a white character and turn that into a brown or a black character. As a brown person myself, it seems that we are not good enough to have our own original characters. But Hollywood doesn't obey that. What do you think is the game industry's point of view on this? Are they taking what are originally white characters or what are originally non-marginalized characters and turning them into marginalized characters just for the sake of diversity? Or are they building new and authentic marginalized characters to show their inclusivity?
That's an important question. I think that film industry is very different compared to video games industry. You had different movement in the in the movies industry, as you had. If I take, for example, the blaxploitation movement, it was the movement where you saw a lot of different black characters in with black directors for the movies and so on. So black movies, in fact. This movement don't exist in video games industry, and it seems pretty difficult to have it raised in the recent one, because we don't have a lot of people, black people of colors, that could say, hey, we want to do specific games that could be blaxploitation games, because they could encounter backlash on the social network. Why? I don't know why exactly, but I think the video games industry works differently compared to the cinema, to the entertainment in movies industry. And also, you know that the movies industry is older than video games industry. Where video games industry has maybe 50 years old right now. So it could take time to consider that different type of games, different type of point of view, different way to talk, to introduce games to the players could be considered as something very good. Blaxploitation was not something. You can criticize blaxploitation, because I do think that it is something that help a lot the movies industry, but also have a lot of tropes, a lot of stereotypes. Black strong male who meet a lot of women and so on. It's not something that I just want to perpetuate. But I think this movement helped to the video game, the film industry to evolve in a way that people of color or people with different backgrounds could bring a lot to the cinema. And I think we just have to open our way to talk video games. And this will help a lot of people, a lot of different role models to explain themselves about how they consider video games, how the video games could be varied right now. But it will take time, for sure.
Okay. So I think we're definitely headed towards that bright future of inclusivity.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I know. I deeply think that if we consider the women voices in video games industry, it could be very different right now, because I know that the directors, the game directors, the creative directors in video games industry are especially mostly men. But if we have more women, if we have more women who can decide about the different game direction, different point of view, different stories that we can put into our games, it could prove that it's not only a matter of business, of immediate business with games with guns and FPS and so on. It could be very varied. Why not having new type of games? Why not having a new way of talking about women's stories and so on? So yeah, we just have to let them this chance of proving that video games could be a powerful sector, more powerful than ever.
Okay. So how do you think that two people, the industry and the gamers, can support more diversity, especially in the higher levels, as say the post of director or the producers? How can we support diversity in those levels, both the industry and as well as gamers?
It's difficult. It's difficult because we just have to, if I could say this in a simple way, we just have to open our minds. Just think that in the higher jobs in the video games companies, we could have, you just have to say, to prove that everyone could have those different backgrounds without proving that you want a study to confirm that and so on. Because we often rely on studies. We had a lot of studies about diversity and inclusion and so on. That is a good thing, but we can just try it. Try those people as a directors and see that it won't be different. It just will be as diverse as the everyday world, the everyday life. And it is really important to just nurture yourself, nurture your mind, and nurture your spirit, and see that it's not only blockbusters, it's not only people who are, if you compare the situation where you have this kind of games where the evil are people from Middle East and so on, you can have different new stories that you could tell, different don't know, old stories about heroes from the past, from the different cultures, and it will come naturally if you just have this this trust about people who just are different in terms of colors, in terms of mindset, and give them a chance to try to be directors without any constraint, without any consideration, and proving that the students could say it's an opportunity of business. Yes, let's try, and I'm pretty sure that it will be efficient.
All right. So I have the last question for today. What's the one career advice that you'd want to give to the youth to get into the gaming industry? Because I just graduated high school a couple of years ago, just last year, and I haven't been to college yet because pandemic and all. I don't want to go to online college, but I really want to get into the gaming industry. So do you think formal education is important, or how important is it? And how can I and others like me get into the gaming industry?
Okay. I don't create games. I don't, I am someone with a lot of hope for the future, a lot of dreams from my spirit and my heart, and I know that you can just when you are from the youth generation, you just have to raise your voice through the social networks and say, hey, I'm there, I could do that or that, this or that. And you will be, if you are like pretty smart to discuss with the good people in place. I was built like that, I created a group on Facebook dedicated to employment in the video games industry. It's a French group, but I also created an international group about careers. But when I talk about that with my friends and people in the industry, they just want to create that. You're not a recruiter. You're not someone with a lot of backgrounds in terms of creating video games. So why you? I said, why not? I just wanted to do that, to just provide a space where you can just share your resume, your CV, and ask for questions. So, and the group did well. We have right now almost 10,000 people discussing about all type of questions. They just send new opportunities in the video games industry, and people knew me because I created this space, and also I created a professional space for professionals in the video games industry, and so on. So you just have to raise your voice, create your own opportunities to be visible, and people will remark you, will notice that you do a lot of effort, to be more than the average, but it's important to raise your voice and say that you could do as best as the other people in the industry. I am not like I'm not shy about that. I just wanted to bring my own way to see the video games industry, and I think it is working. Just another example, with my association, I created a scholarship for people of different backgrounds, people of colors, people with disabilities. It's the first time in France that you have this kind of scholarship about video games industry. The name in French is Bourse Jeux Vidéo, so you can see that video game scholarship basically, and it is independent. We just recruit each year five students. We give them money to pay their scholarship in the video games industry. And when we launched that at the first time, people said, "Hey, you are crazy to launch that. You are not someone with a lot of finance and so on." But we do think that the video game companies can give some money to just fulfill this idea of diversity and give the chance to people with different backgrounds to enter in the video games industry and give them some mentorship to help them raise and have their first job in the video games industry. So it was the idea of last year, and it's growing. We have money right now to pay the school for those people, and it works very well. So I'm pretty proud of that.
That's great. That's great. All right. So that was everything that I wanted to ask. Now, what are your parting words for this show?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity of discussing about all those topics that are very important to me.
All right, everyone. So that was Mickaël from Ubisoft on SpawnPoint. All right. Goodbye.